So much.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker, kia ora tātou katoa. Iau e tūnei me mihi rā ki te rā mema I tū ki mūtero te wharepāre mata I tēnei ahi. Ia e kōrero ana mō ngā mea kōti iaia. So can I just add my congratulations to Jackie Blue and thank you for her contribution. I feel a bit of a killjoy after that speech with all the positivity to raise the issue I want to just to put before the House, but I wish you well, Jackie, in the career ahead of you. Mr. Speaker, with the time that I've got, I wanted to talk about a topic that is often provokes all sorts of severe reactions as if it's the first time the words have ever been uttered. And what I'm talking about is the topic of institutional racism. Mr. Speaker, over 30 years ago it was identified that Māori experienced disproportionate treatment in the New Zealand justice system. Now, people do not see things such as overrepresentation of Māori in all of the worst statistics as a result of racism. On the contrary, they tend to think that it's a Māori problem that we should just try and justify, that we often try to justify by claiming racism. So I reject that. These are ignorant and divisive thoughts, and they're preserved by our current systems geared towards disadvantaging Māori, the police force, the courts, the corrections, and of course the justice system. One of the good things about being in Parliament is that you get cleared with statistics and information which might back the claim. And of course this recent week or so, Just Speak, an organisation, released a very clear overview about the chances of being, and they spoke about the chances of being prosecuted for a crime if you're a young Māori, and that it was far more likely that you would be prosecuted if you were Māori than non-Māori. Now, Mr. Speaker, of the 3,495 theft apprehensions recorded as Caucasian, there were 588 prosecutions. For Māori, of the 5,660 apprehensions recorded, 1,173 resulted in prosecution. In other words, a rate of 16.8 versus 20.7. Mr. Speaker, even worse, there are 15 categories of offences ranging from homicide to theft to property offences, with everything in between. And of these 15 categories, Mr. Speaker, Māori have a higher proportion of apprehensions leading to prosecutions in 14 of the 15. And the one that is the exception is miscellaneous offences. So, Mr. Speaker, such was our concern about this that we raised or asked at least questions of the Minister who's in the House at present about this matter. It's something that we do take seriously, and we will continue to advocate against this type of racism. Mr. Speaker, most people would think that there's a simple reason and that if you commit a crime, then you do the time. But the thing is, following apprehension for a crime, the percentage of Māori who are then prosecuted is far higher than the percentage of Pākehā who are prosecuted. If a Māori teen and a Pākehā teen are apprehended for the same crime, the young Māori is more likely to be prosecuted, while the Pākehā youth is more likely to get off. Now, does this not raise questions, sir, of fairness and of discrimination in those people who would be sceptical of institutional racism? That's the question. And sadly, sir, I wouldn't expect so. Mr. Speaker, when the apprehension of a suspect occurs, there's often an element that is described as discretion that can be used by the arresting officer as to whether to proceed or not to arrest. And one might ask, what is considered by that officer when they are using their notions of discretion? Are their decisions going to be informed by their own views about Māori people and about Pākehā people? Once in the system, of course, what are the options that are being offered to offenders that might enable them to plan for a future without being stigmatised by the slur of a criminal conviction? Mr. Speaker, we know about diversion schemes, restorative justice programs, but are these offered? Are they being offered fairly? Are they being offered to young people in order that they might be able to avoid conviction and have a shot at growing up and learning from their experiences? And, Mr. Speaker, the data that was presented by Just Speak suggests not. Mr. Speaker, ethnic bias within the police and criminal justice system is real. There have been numerous instances and reports in New Zealand that tell us that it is real. Kim Workman from the Rethinking Crime and Punishment group suggests that there are a number of avenues that need to be looked at, including traffic stop procedures, ethnic profiling, offender eligibility for diversion, and pre-charge warnings, to name a few. And I've been interested in the whole notion about community law forums. So, Mr. Speaker, that's the concern, and the Māori Party will be raising a bill in the near future called the Elimination of Institutional Racism Bill, and we hope to introduce that into the members' ballot very shortly.
The time for this debate has expired. Call on members